my name is Jan, and I am part of the marketing team here at Edulastic. I'm here with Catherine Tang today, and we are interviewing her as part of our Edulastic Innovator Spotlight. We're so excited to get to know you a little bit better. So to start off, will you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, this is my 10th year teaching. I've taught 2 years of middle school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the rest of the 8 years in here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I've taught, from middle school up to high school.
Awesome. And you're a math teacher, right?
I am.
Very cool. So what level math are you teaching right now?
Right now, this year I have geometry only. Last year I had Montessori, Algebra 1, and then geometry and Montessori geometry.
Very cool. So what initially inspired you to work in education?
I had wonderful supportive teachers from high school. Some of them weren't even the teachers that I had for the contents, but they were willing to provide the extra support that I needed to be successful as a student and be able to succeed really as a citizen in the country, because I came from another country when I was 15.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that you had such a great experience growing up in school. How did you first learn about Edulastic?
I actually learned it from another former colleague who I guess stumbled upon it, and it was like a little into the year, and she found that and shared it with us, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this because I've not been trained on it, and I don't know that, I don't have the time to really dig into it and figure out what it is. But having that heart for technology, I was like, well, I do have iPads and maybe I should look into it. So I tried it out and I fell in love with it.
So how do you use it in your classroom? Like what kind of assessments do you give?
So I've used it for as small as bell work, warm-ups, as big as assessments, like unit assessments. So for bell work, it gives me instant feedback, gives students instant feedback on how they did. And then they don't have to wait for me to give them feedback because they, get the feedback from the work that they do. So that's been very helpful. And also when I do give it as like quizzes, the more bigger formative assessment, and then the unit test, again, they get feedback and I get instant feedback as well, so that I could figure out, okay, who needs what kind of support. That's what I would use also to create individualized interventions for specific students.
So do your students enjoy getting that immediate feedback as well?
They do. Yes, they do. Because they don't have to wait for me to grade, right? When you grade it on paper, especially if it's unit tests, it takes some time. So as long as maybe even a week, depends on our schedules. So if students can get that immediate feedback, they don't have to wait for me. And they can, because I let them do retakes. I focus on mastery. So I said, if you don't do well, then you need to go back and make sure you understand those problems that you didn't get right. And if you have questions, then you need to make an appointment with me so we can go over it. Or if there's some problems that most people bombed, then we will go over it in class. That way, again, it's all about, efficiency, right? All of that help us problem solve more efficiently and help students understand the content in a more efficient way, so that they're not waiting till 2-3 weeks later go, oh no, I don't know this. Now I'm supposed to be using this to do something else.
So I also read that you're really passionate about going green in your classroom,
Yes.
Which is something that I think is really great. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
If we know about all the sustainable goals that came out of UN, we definitely have to work on our environment. And recently we just had a climate strike, right? So all of that is so important for just, globally. So I want to eventually, and, after switching schools, of not being able to do what I had done at last school, where I really was able to go like mostly green. So I never had to print anything as far as assessments. Lessons, we we did have hard copies. But my goal is to be able to not only help students to learn the mathematics, but also help them understand the importance of protecting our environment. And we all know that paper come from trees. So the more paper you use, the more trees get cut down.
So you wrote in your teaching philosophy that you think that everyone has an obligation to make the world a better place. And I thought that was just really wonderful. And I'm wondering if you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, so I think the more I learn, and again, you know, we always say educators are lifelong learners, and I think that's very true because we don't know everything. But as I learn more myself, I like to share it with students. So for example, the UN SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, I learned about those through what's called Beluga. It's a digital platform online, and also We Schools. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but both of those organizations, they push the UN SDGs. So what I started working on this year was getting kids to look at different goals or issues that are global and local, and ask them what they're passionate about. So kids vote, you know, they look through the list and then they identify which ones they were passionate about. So I think it's important that we bring those issues into classrooms so that students are, they know about them. Sometimes, just like myself, I didn't know about them until I get to learn about them, right? So I don't want to keep it to myself. I want to share that with the students, and because really those kids, they're our future.
And so lastly, what are you most excited for this school year?
I'm really excited to implement Edulastic again this year with the students, and hopefully they'll love it as much as I do. We'll be doing a mid-unit assessment, so we'll be using that as a tool to help us assess our understanding and be able to create interventions more efficiently. So I'm not wasting my time on grading paper, and they're not wasting their time on waiting for me to finish grading. We can focus on, you know, who needs what, and then what kind of content they need to revisit, who can be advanced or accelerated to the next level of work. So that's what I love about Edulastic, is that, you know, it allows me to do that. Not on top of that, you're saving trees and paper. So why not?
Great. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I really appreciate it. And I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and, you know, support too. And I just want to say, like, Edulastic is doing so wonderful job, and, you know, who doesn't love free, right?